This is 8-9. I'm not sure what that isn't. Nope. If you consume Julie. Of course, definitely. If I consume Julie. And yep, no idea. Right. You're no sure, isn't? No. So the last time we did visually. Of course, definitely. If I consume visually. And I have no idea. If I consume visually. Right? Yep, it does. If I consume visually. Of course. Definitely. If I consume. Wait. Oh. Wait. Who was here? For some reasons, definitely. Well, if you consume visually. Cause yep, no idea, definitely. If I consume, right? You have no idea, visually. Until you realize that. I have no idea, visually. Whoa! I was gonna make sure I checked last time, visually. Of course. I'm not sure I realized that. Whoa! Oh! You have no idea, right? Wait a minute. This is supposed to happen. Well, you figured this out, okay? You don't expect that for the others, visually. Of course. Did I realize that? Yes, for some reason, digitally. Whoa! Okay. I did not spoon that. Well, I have to keep that in mind for the others. Eventually, if I consume, yep, definitely. Of course, eventually. Until I realize that. Yep, if I consume, usually. But I was gonna get some ideas. Hello? What? Wait, am I no one? What are you doing here? I don't know, Vigily. If you consume? Oh, yes. If I consume, Vigily? Right. You did not spread that for the others. Wait a minute. I did not spoon this. So, you have no idea, right? Yep. If you consume, Vigily. Do you realize that? Until you get some better ideas, actually. Of course, you have no idea. Oh, right. You did not spoon that. Angeli? If I consume, it was staying for a while, Vigily. If you consume. Wait, I have no idea. Of course, Vigily. So, if you consume. Yes. It's not for the others. Vigily? Right. No sure you realize that. Whoa! Okay, I'm not sure you realize that. From now on, digitally. If I consume. Yep, he does, definitely. So, who wants to figure this out? And I'm no sure, definitely. Of course. Wait, you're no sure you realize that? Yes. Of course. You can't figure this out when I was trying to. Well, yeah, no, yeah. Right. Well, just try this from earlier, originally. If I consume. Wait, did I realize that? Yes. Of course. No sure you realize that? Yep, if you consume usually. Alright. At least I was trying to. Of course, eventually. Right. You did not spoon that. I know, definitely. If you could see him, Julie. Of course. Staying for a while, isn't? Nope. Okay. If you could assume you have the others. Eventually. Of course. Did I lose that? Yes. If I could assume. Eventually. Right, you're not sure? Yep, it does, Vigily. Until you didn't know this. Wait, how would you notice that? Because it's over there. Oh, you did not spoon that. Yep, Vigily. If I assume you did not spoon spot the West. If I assume, Vigily. Of course, you know, sure. Yep, it does, definitely. If I assume, Vigily. Until I realized that. Did I realize that? Alright then. If you could see visually. Thank you, thank you. You have no idea. Well, keep that in mind with others. And that's not the one. Keep in mind with others. Right. Well, we did not spoon that. What? Ah. Okay. If you could see visually. Of course, definitely. You did not spoon that. Well, if you could see him. Okay, you did not spoon that. Wait now, Vigily. Right. Until you realize that, Vigily. Of course, you're not sure you realize that? Yep. For some reasons, you have no idea, definitely. If I guess him, Vigily. Of course. Did I realize that? Yes. If I guess him, Vigily. If I was gonna make sure, for some reasons, Vigily. Of course. If I was trying to, definitely. If I assume, definitely. Right. You're not sure, realize that? Yes. If I assume, Julie. And I was getting some ideas. Do I realize that, definitely? If I assume. And I was gonna make sure for Julie. Until I realized that. Right. You're not sure? Yep. That is Vigily. Of course. Not sure you realize that? Yep. If I assume, Vigily. And I am not sure, definitely. Of course. Did I realize that? Yes. I'm trying to figure out for the others, but I realized that. You did not realize that from now on, isn't? No. Good enough, Vigily. Until you didn't know this. Right. You're not sure? Yep, it does, Vigily. Until you didn't know this. Right. Did I realize that? Yes. Until you didn't know this. Right. You did not realize that. I know, Vigily. If I assume, definitely. Right. Not sure you realize that. Yes. If I assume, Vigily. Right. I was gonna make sure, isn't? Nope. I was gonna keep doing the others, but you have no idea. Right. Not sure you realize that, isn't? Nope, Julie. If I assume, definitely. Right, you not sure? Yep, it does, Vigily. Yep, no idea. Of course. Do you realize that? Right. If I assume. Yep. Not sure realize that. For some reasons, usually. If I assume, definitely. And if I assume, usually. I was gonna be sure. Yep. Did I realize that? Yes. If I assume, usually. And you was trying to make sure, definitely. Because I am never sure. Do we realize that? Yep, usually. If I assume, definitely. Right. You're not sure you realize that? I know, eventually. If I assume. Right, you're not sure? Yep, it does, eventually. Until you didn't know this. Right. You're no sure. Yep, it does, eventually. Until you didn't know this. Right. Not sure you realize that? Yes. Until you, figured this out, eventually. Of course. Not sure you realize that? Yep. If you assume, eventually. Right. Not sure you realize that? Yes. If you assume, usually. If you have no idea, definitely. Right. You're not sure you realize that? Yes. Right. Of course. I was gonna figure this out, okay? It's a little bit familiar, visually. Of course. Do we realize that? Yes, if you assume. Right. I did not realize that. I know, visually. Of course. You did not realize that? I know, if I assume. Right. And bye. You have no idea, right? Yep, if you assume. Okay. If I assume, Julie.